Once upon a time, there lived a king and queen who had no children. But one day, as the queen was walking by the side of the river, a little fish lifted its head out of the water and said, "Your wish shall be fulfilled, and you shall soon have a daughter." And the queen had a little girl that was so very beautiful that the king could not cease looking on it for joy, and determined to hold a great feast. At the feast, the king invited everyone from the kingdom and also all the fairies. Now there were 13 fairies in his kingdom, and he had only 12 golden dishes from them to eat out of. So he was obliged to leave one of the fairies without an invitation. The fairies gave all the best gifts to the little princess: virtue, beauty, and more. And when the 11 had done blessing her, the 13 came in determined to take her revenge. "The king's daughter shall in her 15th year be wounded by a spindle and fall down dead." But the 12th fairy, who had not yet given her gift, came forward and said that the bad wish must be fulfilled, but that she could soften it, and that the king's daughter should not die but fall asleep for 100 years. The king ordered that all the spindles from the kingdom to be destroyed, but one day the king and the queen were not home, so the princess roved about by herself till at last she came to an old tower. She opened the door of the room from the tower, and there was an old woman spinning. The princess was touched it before the prophecy was fulfilled, and she fell lifelessly on the ground. She was not dead, but had only fallen into a deep sleep. Along her the king and queen and all the living from the court, people and animals. A large hedge of thorns soon grew around the palace, and every year it became higher and thicker, till at last the palace was surrounded and hid. But people found out about the beautiful sleeping rosebud, for so was the king's daughter's called. From time to time, several king's sons came and tried to break through the thicket into the palace. None of them succeeded. They got stuck into the thorns and bushes and died. After many, many years, there comes a king's son into the land, and an old man told him the story of the thicket of thorns and how a beautiful palace stood behind it, in which was a wondrous princess called Rosebud, asleep with all her court. The prince decided to go in. It was precisely the day that 100 years were complete. The thorns transformed into beautiful flowers, and he passed with ease. At least he came to the palace, and there in the court a dog was asleep, and the horses in the stable. On the roof, pigeons were asleep, the flies slept on the wall. Then he came to the old tower and opened the door of the little room in which Rosebud was, and looked so beautiful that he could not take his eyes off, and he stooped down and gave her a kiss. But the moment he kissed her, she opened her eyes and awoke, and smiled upon him. Then they went out together, and presently the king and queen also awoke, and all the court, and they gazed on each other with great wonder. And then it was the wedding of the prince and Rosebud celebrated, and they lived happily together all their lives long.